I never thought my own blood would sell me out for a shot at the spotlight. But there I was, 28 years old, staring at the blue glow of my iPhone in the dead of night, watching my sister Lila's face light up the screen like some twisted fairy tale villain. She'd just gone live on Facebook, her perfectly filtered smile beaming out to her 50,000 followers, confessing everything, not to me, but to the world. My sister Stella sacrificed her future for my mistakes. She sobbed dramatically, tears glistening like Oscar bait. And just like that, the block notification pinged. Lila has blocked you. The betrayal hit harder than the time she'd framed me for stealing Mom's heirloom necklace when we were kids. But this was nuclear. I grabbed my keys, the rain pounding Chicago's streets like it knew what was coming, and whispered to the empty apartment, "You want redemption? I'll give you ruin." It started 6 years ago, back when we were both scraping by in this godforsaken city. The kind of place where dreams go to die under fluorescent lights and the L train's endless rumble. I was the good one, the reliable Stella, working double shifts at the ad agency, paying the rent on our shoebox apartment in Wicker Park while Lila chased her influencer delusions. She was 25 then, all wide-eyed ambition and Instagram filters, posting thirst traps from dive bars and captioning them with quotes from Rupi Kaur that made me roll my eyes. "You're living wrong, Stell," she'd say, flipping her bleached blonde hair. "Life's too short for spreadsheets." I loved her for it. That fire. We were orphans in all but name. Mom gone from cancer when I was 18. Dad a ghost who bolted years before. Sisters against the world. Or so I thought. The secret? It wasn't even mine to keep at first. Lila had always been the wild card. The one who'd sneak out for parties while I buried myself in books. But that summer, she crossed a line even I couldn't ignore. She was interning at a flashy PR firm downtown, some nepotism hookup from Mom's old college buddy, and they had her handling social media for a big pharma client pushing opioids like candy. "It's just likes and shares," she laughed off my warnings. But Lila being Lila, she didn't stop at posts. She started fabricating testimonials, deepfake videos of happy patients raving about the pills that were turning half of Illinois into zombies. When the feds came knocking, FDA audit, whistleblower tip, she panicked. Hard. I remember the night she burst into our apartment, clutching a USB drive like it was the nuclear codes. "Stell, I fucked up. Big time." The files showed everything: altered emails, ghost accounts she'd used to pump up engagement metrics. If it went public, she'd lose everything: the internship, her budding follower count, maybe even jail time. Corporate fraud isn't a slap on the wrist in America, it's a one-way ticket to federal orange. And me? I was clean. Or so I thought. But Lila knew my weak spot, our shared dream of Mom's old brownstone in Lincoln Park. The one we'd inherit if we played our cards right. "Please,
Stell. Just
take the fall.
say it was you freelancing on the side. I'll make it up to you."
I swear. I should have said no. God, I should have. But blood's thicker than ink.
Right?
That's the American lie we tell ourselves, the family-first myth peddled in every Hallmark movie and Super Bowl ad. So I did it. I confessed to the investigators, spun a tale of rogue side gigs to boost my portfolio. They bought it because I was the steady one, the girl with the MBA and the clean LinkedIn. Lila got a slap, internship revoked, but no charges, and slinked off to find herself in LA, leaving me to rot. The fallout? My career imploded. Blackballed from every agency in Midwest. I ended up slinging coffee at a Starbucks in O'Hare, watching tourists sip lattes while my student loans piled up like snowdrifts. 6 years of that grind, all for her. She'd check in sporadically, guilt-fueled Venmos for rent. Birthday cards with cash tucked inside like hush money. Miss you. Big sis. LA's a vibe. But Chicago's home. Bullshit. I saw the posts, her rubbing elbows with B-list celebs at Coachella. Sponsored hauls from brands that wouldn't touch me with a 10-foot pole. She was thriving. A micro-influencer with sponsored trips to Miami and a podcast called Lila Unfiltered, where she'd wax poetic about authenticity and owning your truth. Owning her truth? The irony burned hotter than a White Sox hot dog on a July grill. By year 4, the resentment festered. I'd lie awake in my efficiency in Logan Square, the walls paper-thin with neighbors' arguments bleeding through, plotting ways to expose her. Not outright, I'm no keyboard warrior, but subtle. Anonymous tips to her sponsors about ethical lapses in her past. Nothing stuck, she was Teflon. Always one pivot ahead. That's when the scheming kicked in, the Lila I never fully knew. She'd flip like a politician in an election cycle, 1 month, ghosting me entirely the next, showing up unannounced with takeout from Giordano's. All apologies and sisterly hugs. I was lost.
Stell.
But I'm back.
Lies.
She was mining me for content fodder, twisting our reunion into viral reels about forgiveness and family bonds. Views spiked. Brand deals flowed. I was her redemption arc. Unwitting prop in her personal brand. The breaking point came last fall, during the height of the midterm madness. Everyone's on edge, gas prices through the roof. Roe overturned still stinging like an open wound, and social media a goddamn coliseum. Lila had pivoted to activism light, posting black squares for BLM anniversaries and thirst traps with feminist quotes overlaid. But privately, she messaged me, need a favor. Big one. Turns out, her LA glow-up was built on sand. She'd dipped into the same shady waters, partnering with a wellness guru peddling unregulated supplements that were basically fentanyl light. When a lawsuit hit, naming her as a co-conspirator, she needed a scapegoat again.
Me.
Stell, you're gold. Credible. Say you ghost-wrote my endorsements. It'll blow over. I laughed. A bitter bark that echoed off my peeling wallpaper. Not this time, Lila. I'm done carrying your corpse. She didn't beg, she threatened. Screenshots of old emails, the ones from the pharma scandal where I'd confessed. 1 click. And you're the fraud who lied to feds. Perjury.
Sis.
Enjoy your orange jumpsuit. Checkmate. Or so she thought. I agreed. Played along. Even drafted the statement for her lawyers. But in the dead of that negotiation night, as Lake Michigan whipped up a storm outside my window, I made my choice. Revenge wasn't a whisper anymore, it was a scream. I started small, the American way, methodical, under the radar, like a whistleblower prepping for 60 minutes. Hired a PI out of my meager savings, the kind of grizzled ex-cop who chain-smokes Camels and knows every back-alley deal in the city. His name was Frankie, with a voice like gravel and eyes that had seen too many Windy City winters. Kid, revenge is a dish best served cold, but in Chicago, it's served with extra cheese. He dug
deep.
What he uncovered wasn't just dirt, it was a goddamn landfill. Lila hadn't stopped at supplements. She'd been running a side hustle, catfishing lonely marks on dating apps, promising exclusive content for crypto payments that vanished into her offshore accounts. Dozens of victims, divorced dads in the suburbs, widowers scrolling Tinder at 2 a.m., out thousands each. And the kicker? She'd used my old headshots, photoshopped,
To lure them in.
my face.
Her scam.
The evidence piled up. Wire transfers,
Chat logs.
even a burner phone in her name. Frankie grinned like a wolf when he handed me the dossier. You want viral? This'll make TikTok crash. But I didn't want viral yet. I wanted her to feel the noose tightening, the paranoia creeping in like fog off the lake. So I leaked crumbs. An anonymous post on a true crime subreddit, influencer alert at Lila Unfiltered scamming fans, screenshots inside. It buzzed, 10K upvotes in a day, but she lawyered up, calling it deepfake harassment in a tearful story. Her followers ate it up, stand with Lila trending. She flipped again, going radio silent on me, then surfacing with a mental health break announcement that skyrocketed her engagement. That's when the tension ratcheted up. The dark underbelly of our sisterly bond twisting into something straight out of a Scorsese flick. I'd tail her on her rare Chicago visits, incognito in a Cubs cap and oversized shades. Heart pounding as I watched her brunch at the Wiener Circle, laughing with podcasters who fawned over her resilience. One night, I slipped into her hotel room, master key from a bribed maid. The kind of low-rent move that'd get me disbarred if I weren't already persona non grata. There, on her nightstand, a journal, pages filled with her scrawled confessions. Stella's always been the fall girl.
Weak.
But she loves me too much to stop. Rage boiled. Hot and black. But I pocketed a flash drive instead, backup to Frankie's files. By spring, the net was closing. Lila sensed it, started double-backing on sidewalks, posting cryptic stories about toxic family vibes. She reached out, voice trembling over a burner call. Stell, is that you? The posts? I know it's you. We can fix this. Like old times. Old times. The words slithered like a knife. I hung up, but not before whispering, check your DMs. Inside, a single photo. Her journal page. Captioned authenticity.
Right?
She blocked me on everything Insta,
TikTok.
the works. Victory tasted like ash. But Lila's no quitter. She's the fox in the henhouse, always 3 steps ahead. A week later, she unblocked just long enough to go live. That's the hook that snagged the world, her Facebook confession. Raw and rehearsed. Spilling the pharma beans, but twisting it into a sisterly sacrifice narrative. Stella took the hit to protect me. My hero.
But now,
I'm owning it, all of it. Cue the sobs. The calls for justice for Stella. Comments exploded. Queen behavior. Forgive Lila versus.
wait.
She framed her sis? Lock her up. The internet split like a bad divorce. Factions forming overnight. My phone blew up, reporters from BuzzFeed. Old colleagues offering comebacks. I should have felt vindicated.
But nah.
It was her masterstroke. Flipping the script, so she emerged the reformed villain. Me the martyr she could monetize. I drove to her hotel that night. The loop a blur of neon and honking cabs. Rain sheeting my windshield like tears I wouldn't shed. Security waved me up, her doing? No doubt. Baiting the trap. She opened the door in silk pajamas. Eyes puffy, but makeup flawless. A bottle of Veuve chilling on ice. Stell, come to gloat. No hug. Just that predatory smile. We talked or schemed for hours, the city humming below us like a beast waiting to pounce. She admitted the scams, the catfishing, even laughed about using my face. You were always prettier. Borrowed it. But then the flip. Help me spin this. We go public together, sisters healing. Book deal. Netflix doc. We win. It was tempting. That American dream of redemption porn. The controversial decision hung there, heavy as the humidity. Team up or torch it all. I chose the gray. Leaked the full dossier to a podcast buddy, crime junkie style, but with teeth. By morning, Lila's scam trended harder than her confession, victims crawling out of the woodwork. She fought dirty, suing me for defamation, painting me as the jealous has-been pressers. The climax hit during her emergency IG live from LAX. Fleeing back to LA, Stella's destroying me because she can't handle success. But I forgive her. Fork in the road for every viewer. Was she the victim of a bitter sister's vendetta? Or the snake shedding skin one more time? We ended up in court. Summer Swelter turning the Daily Center into a pressure cooker. Her lawyer, a slick Harvard type in $1,000 loafers, grilled me on the stand. You admit to perjury 6 years ago? Emma's. Harper? For your sister? The jury, blue-collar types from the South Side, shifted uncomfortably. I owned it. Voice steady as the L overhead. Yeah. Love makes fools of us all. Lila took the stand next. A masterclass in moxie, trembling lip, tales of abuse from our dysfunctional home. The gallery gasped when she dropped the bomb. Dad hadn't left. I'd driven him out. A teen rage-fueled fight over mom's chemo bills.
Lie?
Half-truth. I'd screamed at him. Yes. But she'd been there, egging it on. The room fractured, feminists cheering her bravery, cynics muttering, gaslight much? The twist came post-verdict mistrial. Hung jury. 8-4 her way, but no clear winner. As we filed out, rain-slicked streets steaming under street lamps, she cornered me in the alley behind the courthouse. We could have been legends. Stell. Her eyes. For once. Raw, no filter. I handed her the journal. The real one. Pages dog-eared with her own doubts. What if I drag her down with me? Burn it. Or don't. Your truth. She took it.
Hesitated.
Then hugged me, fierce. Like we were kids again. Fighting over the last Pop-Tart. We didn't reconcile. Not fully. She pulled back to LA. Pivoted to true crime survivor content. Her follower count doubling on the controversy. I got a settlement from one of the victims' class action, enough for a down payment on mom's brownstone. Happy ending? Debatable. Some say I won, exposing her rot. Others, that I destroyed the only family I had left for spite.
Me?
I scroll past her posts now, unblocked but muted, wondering if the revenge was worth the mirror it forced me to face. Blood's thicker than ink. Yeah, but ink stains forever. And in America, that's the real hook. No one's clean when the credits roll.
Wait.
No, that's not the end. I lied. The real gut punch came 3 months later, when the podcast dropped. Sisters in Shadows. They called it, hosted by that gravel-voiced ex-cop Frankie, who I'd paid in coffee and IOUs to keep his trap shut until the timing was ripe. He narrated it like a noir novel, all cigarette drags and moral ambiguity, splicing in audio clips I'd smuggled from our hotel showdown. Lila's laugh, brittle as autumn leaves. You were always prettier. My voice, cracking on the stand. Love Makes Fools. It hit 3 on Spotify overnight. Sponsors lining up, true crime garage knockoffs. But with a feminist twist, dissecting female rage and sisterly betrayal like we were lab rats. The backlash was biblical. Lila's brand cratered. Brands bailed faster than rats from a South Side tenement. She went dark for weeks, then resurfaced with a Substack, The Other Side of the Story.
Paywalled.
Of course, monetizing the mess. In it, she flipped again, claiming I'd manipulated Frankie, planted the journal as revenge porn. Stella's not the victim, she's the architect. Comment sections lit up like Black Friday sales, gaslighting 101 versus. Finally, the truth. I read it in a dive bar off Division Street, nursing a malort that tasted like regret, surrounded by hipsters debating our saga over PBRs. One girl, tattoos snaking up her arm like barbed wire, leaned over. You're Stella, right? That podcast? Iconic.
But
was it worth it? Worth it? The question gnawed like a bad tooth. I'd reclaimed my name. Offers trickled in. Freelance gigs from outlets hungry for the inside scoop. Moved into the brownstone finally. Its creaky floors echoing with ghosts of Mom's laughter. Not Lila's schemes. But nights where you am. Shadows pooling in corners like spilled secrets. I'd wake sweating, convinced she was outside, key in hand, ready to burn it down. Paranoia, the revenge tax. And the victims? They got payouts. Sure. But justice in America is a vending machine. Kick it hard enough. Something drops. But it's never the full candy bar. Lila didn't fade quietly. Oh no. She's got that Midwestern grit wrapped in Hollywood gloss. By Halloween, she was back on the circuit. A guest on Call Her Daddy spilling tea on toxic siblings with Alex Cooper nodding like a bobblehead. Forgiveness isn't weakness, it's power, she purred. Hawking a merch line of Rise from the Ashes teas. Sales boomed. Irony's the new black. She even reached out. A late-night DM from a fresh account. Heard the pod. Brutal. Coffee? Neutral ground. I stared at it till dawn, thumb hovering like it was a live grenade. Neutral ground in this city. There's no such thing. Every corner's laced with memory. Our first apartment above the Polish deli. The park bench, where we'd split blintzes after Mom's funeral. I agreed. Because closure's the crack cocaine of feuds. We met at a cafe in Andersonville. The kind with exposed brick and oat milk lattes. Hipsters typing manifestos on MacBooks. She looked diminished. No filters. Hair in a messy bun. Crow's feet she'd airbrushed away. Stell, she started. Voice like cracked porcelain. I get it now. The weight you carried. Apology? Or audition? She slid a folder across the table, legal docs. Her dropping the defamation suit. Clean slate. Detached. A check. 6 figures. Reparations scrawled in her loopy script. I pocketed it. But the tension hummed like power lines after a storm. We talked real for once. No cameras. No captions. She admitted the catfishing started as a joke. Spiraled when the pharma gig dried up. I envied you.
Stell.
The steady one. I wanted that. But on my terms. Envy? From her? The girl who'd backpacked Europe on Daddy Warbucks' dime while I clerked at Jewel-Osco? But yeah. I saw it then. The flip wasn't malice. It was mirror. We'd both chased the lie. Success as salvation. Family as firewall. The controversial crux. Who betrayed who first?
Me.
By enabling her? Her. by exploiting it. As we hugged goodbye, awkward, like exes at a reunion, the barista shot me a look, recognition, mixed with pity. Outside, leaves skittering like fleeing accomplices. I felt the twist uncoil. Not in court, not in the pod, but here, Lila's folder had a post-it tucked inside.
P.S.
The journal? I wrote that for you. After the hotel.
To see if you'd destroy me.
Test? Or trap? My blood ran cold as Lake Superior in January. She'd baited me all along, forcing the leak to force her own pivot, the survivor arc. Genius. Or madness. The debate reignited online overnight when I shared the post-it, anonymized. Natch. Was it all a setup? Sisters in shadows. The fallout fractured us further. She sued again, this time for breach of privacy. But it fizzled in discovery, her own emails contradicting the test claim. I countered with a GoFundMe for victims, raising double her check in a week. Media swarmed, CNN panels pitting feminist revenge against family privacy, therapists on Fox bloviating about codependency. We became avatars. Not people, Stella the Avenger, Lila the Chameleon. I retreated to the brownstone, fortifying walls with bookshelves of true crime tomes, wondering if the revenge had avenged anything or just amplified the void. Winter hit hard that year. Chicago's bite sinking teeth into bone. Holiday cards arrived, hers, a glossy hallmark with Sisters Forever scripted in foil. No return address. Mine? Blank. Tossed in the recycling with the Christmas tree needles. But the tension didn't thaw. It calcified. Frankie's Pod hit season 2. Guest spots from experts dissecting our psyches like frog legs in bio class. Stella's arc screams unresolved trauma. One shrink drawled. Classic displaced anger. Listeners ate it. Ratings soaring. Lila clapped back with her own series, Unfiltered Shadows, framing me as the abuser. The one who'd stolen her light. Flip. Flop. Rinse. Repeat. The dark heart of it? The crime I bore wasn't just pharma, it was us. That night in the apartment, when she confessed, I'd seen the plea in her eyes, not for help, but for absolution. And I gave it. Because saying no meant admitting we were broken long before Dad split. Mom's cancer wasn't just cells, it was the fracture line. Me the fixer. Her the feeler. Revenge became my hammer, smashing the illusion, but leaving shards that cut both ways. Controversial? Hell yes. Was I the hero dismantling a monster? Or the villain grinding family to dust?
Podcasters profited.
Therapists booked solid.
But we?
Hollowed out. By New Year's, the buzz faded, America's attention span shorter than a TikTok loop. Lila landed a book deal. Ghostwritten sob story titled Blocked But Not Broken. I ghosted back to freelancing, penning op-eds on the cost of loyalty for Salon, each click a tiny vindication. We didn't speak, but the block lifted sporadically, her liking an old photo of Mom's. Me viewing her story of a solo hike in the Hollywood Hills. Caption: Finding peace.
Peace?
In this country, it's the punchline to a bad joke. Yet the UM lingered, a fog that no amount of lake effect snow could bury. One February night, power out from a blizzard. I lit candles in the brownstone's parlor, shadows dancing like accusations. My phone pinged a mutual friend, drunk texting, Lila's in town.
ER.
Overdose? Call her. Heart slamming like a bass drop. I dialed the blocked number. Voicemail. Her voice syrupy. Leave a message. Loves. I did. Lila? It's me. Whatever this is. Don't. No callback. Morning news. Influencer hospitalized after accidental mix-up with wellness ups. Accidental.
Sure.
I drove to Northwestern Memorial. Tires chaining through drifts. The city a white-knuckled ghost. Waiting rooms smelled of bleach and despair. Families huddled like survivors of some unspoken war. The doc emerged. She's stable. Pills and booze. Says it's stress. Stress. From the empire we'd built on our backs, mine broken. Hers balanced on lies. They let me in. She was pale. Foredripped. But eyes sharp as switchblades. You came. Not a question. I sat. Held her hand cold. Clammy. Like Mom's last hours. Why the post-it? I whispered. She smiled.
Faint.
Because you needed to win. To stop hating yourself through me. The revelation landed like a sucker punch. All the flips. The schemes, not to destroy,
but to force my hand.
She'd carried her own guilt, mirrored in mine, and the only way out was mutual combustion. Scheming antagonist?
Nah.
We were co-conspirators in a tragedy of our making. The nurse bustled in. I left with a nod. The check I'd endorsed to victims burning a hole in my glove box. Outside. Snow muffling the world. I breathed deep, the first real lungful in years. Spring thawed the ice, but not the chill between us. Chicago bloomed reluctant, tulips pushing through concrete cracks like stubborn hopes, but Lila stayed west. Her recovery arc a content goldmine. Sponsored posts from rehab-adjacent brands, grateful for second chances with affiliate links to therapy apps. She even shouted me out once. A subtle at Stella Harper in a gratitude thread, to the sister who taught me rock bottom. Comments, wholesome AF or PR stunt. The divide persisted. Our story a Rorschach test for America's fractured soul, loyalty versus self-preservation. Family versus fallout.
Me?
I leaned into the gray. The messy middle where heroes and villains blur. Started a newsletter, Harper's Holdout, dishing unvarnished takes on influencer underbellies. Drawing 5K subs in a month. Not revenge. Exactly. But reckoning. Frankie guested once. His gravel laugh booming through my laptop mic. Stella, here's the real deal. No filters. Just facts. Listeners lapped it, but the real tension brewed offline. Old flames resurfaced. Guys I'd ghosted during the dark years. Now dmang with heard your story. Coffee. I swiped left on nostalgia. Too many bridges burned for rebuilds. Lila's next flip came subtle. A curveball in May. A package arrived at the brownstone, FedEx from Burbank. No note. Inside, Mom's necklace. The one she'd stolen as kids. Clasp mended. Chain gleaming. Tucked in tissue. A USB. Labeled Our Truth. I plugged it in warily, half expecting malware or more mind games. Instead, home videos, digitized from Mom's old VHS. Us at 6 and 4. Splashing in Lake Michigan. Dad's laugh off camera before he ghosted. Lila's voiceover. Soft. We were happy once. Before I broke it. No plea. No pivot, just raw footage. Timestamped from her LA attic purge. I watched till tears blurred the screen. The UM lifting like fog at sunrise. Was it olive branch or osmosis, her absorbing my authenticity shtick? Debated it over beers with Frankie at a Rogers Park tavern. Jukebox crooning Springsteen. Kid, he rasped, foaming old-style mustache. Family's the original con. You gonna bite? I did. Messaging, necklace fits.
Videos too.
Truce? Her reply. Thumbs up emoji. Then radio silence. Classic Lila, commitment phobia in GIF form. Summer sizzled. The city a pressure cooker of festivals and feuds. Lollapalooza weekend. I spotted her in the crowd. Bleach faded to honey. Arm in arm with a podcast bro. Laughing at Grant Park's edge. No confrontation. I melted into the throng. Bass thumping like unresolved heartbeats. But the sighting stirred it. The original crime. The pharma lie that started the dominoes. I'd borne it for love. But love's a currency that depreciates fast in the States. Traded for likes. Leveraged for leverage. The climax brewed slow. A storm front rolling in from the plains. September. Midterms looming again. Lila announced her civic pivot, running for city council in her adopted Echo Park neighborhood. Platform? Digital ethics for the people. Irony thick as smog. Press devoured it. From scandal to statehouse? I chuckled darkly over my morning intelligencer. But the twist gnawed. She was weaponizing our saga. Stump speeches laced with sisterly lessons on accountability. My name dropped like confetti. Stella showed me grace under fire. Grace? I'd shown teeth. Controversy erupted when a local journo dug up the pod transcripts. Splashing headlines, aspiring polls pill-pushing past exposed. Her camp spun it youthful mistake. Owned, but donors dipped. She called then. Voice steel over static. Stell? They're crucifying me. You're doing? Paranoia or projection? Nah, I lied. Karma's nonpartisan. Silence stretched. Then, meet me.
Midway.
For old times. Midway, neutral as it gets. Illinois' flat heart where interstates cross like fate lines. We rendezvoused at a Stuckey's off I-55. Pumps humming under harvest moon. Semis idling like judgmental beasts. She stepped from a rental Prius. Power's suit rumpled. Eyes ringed with fatigue. No hug. We leaned on hoods. Sipping gas station coffee bitter as grudges. Why run? I asked. She shrugged. Horizon swallowing the sun. Same reason you leaked. To rewrite the ending. The confession poured. The council bid wasn't redemption. It was retaliation. Against the system that blackballed us both, the pharma giants. The influencers who chewed her up. I took your fall.
Stell.
Now I'm taking theirs. Twist upon twist. She'd been scheming bigger. Not just personal flips, but a long con. The overdose? Staged. To humanize her campaign. The post-it? Bait to goad my win, clearing her path to play martyr pole. But the real gut shot. The pharma? I didn't start it.
Dad did.
Fed us the line to test loyalty. Dad, the ghost back in the frame. A shadow puppeteer. He'd resurfaced last year. Emailing her from Reno. Proud of your grit. Like mine. The scandal? His setup. Grooming her as heir to some shady consulting gig. I'd borne the fall for a patriarch's ploy. Our sister schism just collateral. The revelation split me wide. Rage at him. Pity for her. Self-loathing for blindness. We were pawns, she whispered. Voice cracking like thunder distant. Controversial climax. Do I expose him? Torch her bid. Claim the narrative? Or join? Co-author the takedown? America loves a team-up redemption. But ours reeked of opportunism. I chose the split. Handed her dad's email chain, Frankie's last dig. With a caveat. Run clean. Or I drop the whole deck. She nodded. Eyes gleaming, ally or adversary. The hug was fierce, gasoline-scented, as taillights faded south. Back in Chicago, autumn leaves carpeting the brownstone steps like confetti from a flawed parade. I waited for the shoe. It dropped election night. Lila lost by 2%, conceding with a speech that name-checked me. To Stella, my compass in chaos. No mention of Dad. She'd buried it. Or burned it. Online erupted, rigged, or deserved. I tuned out, toasting with Malort to gray areas. The ending? No tidy bow. Dad vanished again. Lila pivoted to lobbying, ethics reform.
Natch.
We text sporadically. Recipes. Not recriminations.
Happy?
Tragic?
You tell me.
Revenge. In the end, wasn't the blade but the balance, the scales tipping, never settling. In this land of second acts, we both clawed thirds, scarred but standing. Blood's thicker than ink. Yeah, but sometimes it washes clean in the rain. Or so I tell myself, scrolling past her latest post. Unblocked. Unmoved. Speechless?
Nah.
Just finally silent.